we got to make sure that we go to one of these and see it live, because the hype looks so good on camera. Like, but we were just worried that we wouldn't fit in and that it might be a bit sort of like 8 Mile style. But you know, nothing was further from the truth. We went along to one event one day in Shepherd's Bush, and there was a freestyle event. They never have freestyle events, so this was really unlikely. And they were one person short. This sounds like the plot to a terrible film, and I would not watch
Disney
this
movie.
film.
I would watch this film. This is 16 Mile in Shepherd's Bush.
He was just like, it was Kruger, who's one of the co-founder, Kruger and Kruger came up, and I was drunk, so I was talking nonsense to him, and then he was like, "Oh, you rap, do you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I rap. Of course I do, mate." And he was like, "Oh well, we need another rapper." I was like, "Well, I'm your man."
Wow.
So I went up like really, really inebriated and just sort of freestyled a battle against a guy called Lefty, and then got invited back to do some written stuff.
And now talk to me. How many battles would you say you've done, perhaps?
Oh man, I think I'd say maybe 30.
Wow.
30 battles in total.
That's incredible. And let's talk the highs and lows. So first of all, my immediate thought is, have you ever froze? Have you ever had stage fright? Have you ever forgotten this complex, cave of knowledge in your head?
Yes. And it was the most brutal, like, it felt like an hour and a half just being on stage. And this was the worst thing. This was in Newcastle, so I was already far from home.
That is the worst thing.
yeah, as if it couldn't get any worse. And then there was about 1,000 people there. It was a particularly big crowd that time. And I was against the hometown like dude. And I was on my third round, and I just completely froze up. I stood and I just looked at the host, Rowan. I just looked him in the eye and just shook my head, and he was like looking back at me like, what's the matter? And I was just like, I don't know it, mate. I don't know what to do. Turned to Theo and just said, is there any chance you know my material? Because I tell you it all the time.
Like a human hard drive.
Yeah. And he looked through his database and got an out. So I was just like, and then I just sort of like went to the end of my material. But it was horrible. Do
you know
horrible.
What? In that situation, I would have just pretended to have switched into Gaelic and just gone for the rest of it in that and be like, look, if you don't understand, that's your sort of cultural misknowledge.
Do you know the thing I've always, the big regret I have in my life is at that moment not doing this, knowing that I've just forgotten all my stuff, looking around and then just going, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. That would have solidified me.
Well, okay, what about the opposite side of the spectrum? So,
like what my favourite moment is about?
Moment.
Well, it's very easy for me to think of that. And it was when I was in Canada, in Toronto, and me and Theo had been flown out there by Drake.
What?
To battle on King of the Dart, which is a Canadian
So he knows
league.
about you.
This is the moment, right? I'll tell you the exact moment. I was outside having a cigarette, and I saw 2 black Escalades pull up outside this place because he was coming in through the back, and I was like, "Who's that?" And then I was like, no, I know who that is. That's gonna be Drake, isn't it? And then Drake came out, and I was like, Jesus Christ. So I put my back against the wall just so we could have a bit of a gangway, so we could go past. And he approached me, and to this day, I am so happy that there was one other person who can corroborate this story, because otherwise it just
sounds like rubbish.
Complete made up. He came up to me and he shook my hand, and he said, "You and Marlo are my favourites in the world."
My God.
And he probably said that to every other rapper there, that them and Marlo were but no, like, it was the best moment of it. It was just like a bit where I was just like, I can't believe Drake knows
who you are.
Yeah.
That is insane.
It was nuts.
I didn't even know that, because I had heard via a Guardian article that Ed Sheeran was a fan. Is that true?
I've heard that. I've never met him. I really want to meet him. Ed, if you're listening, but
he definitely is listening.
Oh yeah, he's on it every week. But I really want to exploit that, basically, that fact.
Absolutely.
But I don't think I've ever heard him or like seen anything that online. He definitely watches battle rap, but I don't have any evidence that he's watched any of mine.
I would love for you to pull together Ed Sheeran and Drake and yourself, and basically I'm happy to go with that as a new holy trinity
to make the collab that everyone's been crying out for, frankly,
rewrite
for years.
Bible, it's you, Ed Sheeran, and Drizzy. Yeah. Well, mate, that's amazing. We're actually going to be doing a compliment rap battle very shortly, just because we've got such a friendship going. There's no way I could possibly say anything bad about you. I thought I liked this guy when I first met him, but now that I know he knows Drake, he's my best mate. Mate, come and best man my wedding.
I'll be there, mate. I'll bring Drake.
If I can use you to get to Drake, I will do that.
Look, I can't even use me to get to Drake.
Ladies and gents, Shuffle Tea, if you've just tuned in, Battle rapper, I would dare to say comedian as well, the mastermind behind many comedy sketches. You might have seen him on Don't Flop Entertainment. Now, Shuffle T, you initially wanted to do battle rap because I think you have an innate entertainer side of you. The shuffle part of your name comes from the fact that you used to be a card-based magician, is that correct?
Yes, that is.
So battle rap got you a profile in a way, and then boom, now we see you on The Hook, which is a Facebook page, very much, competitors probably with the Lad Bible, that sort of, that style of stuff. So just very quickly on that, talk to me about your proudest sketch, because we're talking millions of people seeing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think... proudest sketch. I think it might be one that we did right at the beginning, and this was actually the way that we got the job with The Hook, me and Theo. So this was a little bit before then, and it was a sketch called "I'm Not Being Racist," but and I
can already relate to this so hard.
It was just like it's basically two guys just sat across, just chatting, and one of them asked the other one like, "What are we doing on Saturday?" He's like, "Well, I'm not being racist, but I think we should just stay in." And he's like. He's like, how could that be racist? And he's like, well, it only sounds not racist because I said I'm not being racist. And he goes, ask me again and I'll tell you. And he goes, all right, then what time you say? And then it just cuts to this horrible racist montage. And he's like looking through a Jim Davidson book and like, you know, all this horrible stuff. And then at the end, he's like, but I'm not being racist. And he's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Don't you think it's funny that the name of your first sketch is also the name of Nigel Farage's autobiography? That's great, man. Well, look, because I want to play the Risk It Biscuit game with you as well, but I also want to demonstrate some of your battle rapping capabilities.
Oh, sure.
The instrumental's going to fade out, and you and I are going to do a compliment rap battle.
We're going to get it on.